Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the beginning of a new series on how to operate the Airbus A320neo in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, or basically any flight simulator for that matter. This is episode 1, and it will cover the simple cold and dark setup for the Airbus A320. Keep in mind that these tutorials are aimed for beginners, and most of the procedures shown are very simplified. So here we are in the fly-by-wire A320neo cockpit, and as you can see, it is all very dark. So we're going to go ahead and shift our attention to the overhead panel. And in the electric panel in the A320, you will see two buttons that say BAT1 and BAT2. These are your aircraft's batteries, so we're going to go ahead and turn both of those on. Now you can start to see the aircraft come to life with lights starting to turn on. After both of those batteries are on, you're going to go ahead and move over to the external power button. It is available, so we're going to go ahead and turn that button on. Now all of your systems will begin to power on, lights will turn on, and all of your screens will start to turn on. Now we're going to go to the bottom left of the overhead panel in the oxygen panel, and you're going to press the button that says crew supply on. After that is done, we're going to go to the top left of the panel, and we're going to turn all three of our aiders to nav. This aligns the A320's GPS system, and it will be able to follow your route. After all that is done, we're going to go ahead and shift our attention to the fuel panel, which is towards the middle, right above the electric panel. You will notice that there are 6 buttons that are lit up and say off. We're going to turn all 6 of those on, so then there are no more buttons in that panel lit up. What this does is it essentially gets all of the fuel pumps running, which supplies fuel to the engines. Now we're going to go to the bottom left panel, which says external lighting. We're going to go ahead and turn beacon lights on, nav and logo lights on, and turn the strobe lights to auto. Once that is done, we can go to the very bottom of the overhead panel where it says APU, and turn the APU master switch on. Then you're going to want to wait 3 seconds, and then right below that, press the APU start. The next part I'm going to show is not necessary, but it's used in real-world scenarios. So we're going to go ahead to the fire panel at the very top of the overhead panel, and you're going to press and hold down on the test button for each of the fire panels. This includes engine 1 fire, engine 2 fire, and the APU fire. Now you can go back down to the main instrument panel and see that all of our screens are operational and connected to the GPS system. Now you can go down to the pedestal and lock the cockpit doors. After that is done, you can go ahead and go over to the comm panels and tune your radio to the nearest frequency. Let's say you're on VATSIM and contacting ground. Ground may be on 121.9. Once that is done, you can go ahead and head over to this little tablet, which is called the EFB. As you can see, the EFB also has a functionality to upload your SimBrief flight plan, which can be used on VATSIM. It can also be used in assistance to help program your FMC, also known as the flight management computer. Now, if you go over to the left side of the EFB, down to the second little app, this is where we'll get all of our ground services and change our fuel if needed. This is also what I use to assist me in pushing the aircraft back from the gate. It provides a very realistic system and very easy to use system for pushback. Now we can go back over to our overhead panel and turn the APU bleed on. Once that is on, you can go ahead and disable the external power since it will not be needed anymore. Now that everything is set, we are ready for pushback. You can go ahead and turn your attention back to the EFB and go back to the pushback page. You can enable the pushback system and then attach the tug. Once the tug is connected, you can go ahead and release the parking brake. And the one downside of this is that you do have to manually control the pushback, but it really isn't that big of a deal. Now that the pushback is finished, you can go ahead and go to the engine panel, which is right behind the throttle, and turn the engine master switch to start up. One thing I always struggled before I knew this was that you have to have the APU bleed on to turn on the engines. Another thing that we can do now that the pushback is finished is that we can put our flaps to takeoff. The takeoff configuration for me today is flap set to 1, so we can go ahead and put the flaps to 1. If we look at our upper ECAM screen, we can see that the engine power is rising, which is a great sign. And once that power reaches 19.6 and says avail, that means that we can turn on our engine number 1. Now that engine 1 also says available and is at 19.6, we can go ahead and turn our starter switch back to normal. After that is done, you can turn off everything relating to the APU, including the APU bleed and the APU itself, since it is no longer needed to provide power to the engines. Then you can go ahead and turn on your taxi lights, and you are all set to go. I would like to, again, say a quick disclaimer that this is made simply for beginners, and not all the procedures shown here are up to par. And this is only episode 1, so expect a lot more episodes coming out soon. With that being said, I hope all of you have a great day, and make sure to like and subscribe.